everybody. Welcome to the Halloween episode of Real Estate Divas. This is not how we look on a normal every...
Hey, but it's pretty fabulous. High five on the Halloween episode.
I'm Kristin Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage Investments, here with my lovely co-host,
Jer'Leigh Thompson with Texel Real Estate.
And Jer'Leigh, did Red Riding Hood bring any treats?
I did. Wait, you're going to have to hold my hand while I grab my basket.
Right. So we don't have to...
I didn't bring muffins for Grandma. I brought some wine for us.
Excellent.
So, let me go ahead and pour this so we can get started with our horror stories.
Right, welcome to the horror story episode of Real Estate Investing. One thing I love about real estate investors, and our excellent producer Ryan Harper will attest to this, real estate investors don't like to tell you all of the scary, awful things that happen to them in real estate, except for a couple of us, because I have some pretty funny stories. I know Jer'Leigh has some winners.
Oh, there's always some winners.
Terrible, terrible things that can happen to you when you are real estate investing. And Ryan, why is it that real estate investors don't ever like to tell you what goes wrong?
Because they're full of shit?
Because they're full of shit.
We're just starting it off with a bang because, you know, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Pre-Halloween. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to hopefully none of y'all will experience any of our Halloween horror stories. And it's all roses and sunshine and rainbows for you guys, but we'll share a couple of really entertaining ones today.
Yes. And I'm going to tell these stories, which right now, several years later, I can laugh about now. But I
can laugh about it now.
I guarantee you when these things were going on, it was like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. And I was either so freaking angry or like, I can't believe this is going on. Where am I going with this? So,
I've been there as well, like super angry, or just back to being in junior high and high school of, I'm going to kick someone's freaking ass. Like, I'm that pissed. I was ready to beat someone in the street. Like, call the cops. I've just lost my damn mind.
All right. Give me your first one.
All right. So my first one would be, somebody's blowing up my phone, and it should be on silent. My first one is just that old saying of don't rent to friends and family.
Never.
Don't do it.
Don't mix
Now,
family
don't
and
get
money.
me wrong. I am renting to my daughter right now, but that's a
your
little
daughter.
different.
That's your daughter.
That's a little different. I am talking about this was a friend. I thought I was doing a major favor, and I was doing a major favor. And I learned a lot from it because hopefully that's what we do whenever we mess up this big. Or get taken advantage of. Really, that's kind of what happened is I got taken advantage of. And I rented to a friend, and they made the payments for a while, for about a year. Second year in, about 2 months in, somebody got sick. Somebody wasn't working. And then it was this excuse, that excuse. I went so far as to hire that person in an effort to like regain, you know, like, I'll pay you some, but then I'll keep the other half of your pay.
I'll take it off your tally.
Yeah, we'll take it up. Yeah. And then that way you never feel like you're coming in and working for free because nobody's going to show up eventually. I mean, you might show up for the first couple of days, but then you're not. But we'll just work this off. That didn't work. Then, and I felt really guilty. Like I've got some soft spots. They're not as soft as they used to be because crap like this has hardened me. But what ended up happening is they defaulted completely, stopped paying, ended up squatting. I had to file eviction process against someone I knew for a very, very, very long time.
They were squatting. Like they just were like, they didn't
Stopped.
They didn't realize that, okay, I'm not paying you anymore. I'm just going to move out because...
No, they didn't do that. It was just, we'll eventually, and by this time, you've accrued so much debt, right? This has been going on for months, because now we're like 6 to 8 months in, because like I said, I used to be a big old sucker. But, so now we're in, and I'm filing eviction, and I had to file eviction, get them served, and then they were made to move out. So on top of having to do that to somebody who I thought was a friend, then I get to see the property.
Oh, God.
And to top it off,
And this is
I didn't
the
even.
horror. I mean, this is really the horror. Is like, what did they do to it?
Well, and let me just say this, what made it even worse is because this was my childhood home that has now become a rental property. And there's a lot of memories there, you know, a lot of sentimental stuff there. And then I see the property and it is trashed. Like trashed. This is the house you want to pick up because it stinks to high heaven. There was one bedroom just used for the poop room for 3 dogs.
No.
It was disgusting.
Who lets animals poop inside the house?
It was so disgusting. I was so freaking... And for those of you who don't know me, I look really sweet.
You do with your little pigtails.
With my little pigtails.
Your little pigtails.
But I used to fight a lot when I was growing up. That's kind of the neighborhood that I grew up in. That's what we did. I'm mad at you. We freaking fight.
Did you beat someone's ass?
I haven't done it in my adulthood since kids, ever. I was this close. They came to the house and I was just like, you need to 10 feet away. Pre-COVID, you need to keep your distance because I am literally about to throw down in the middle of the street. I'm so pissed.
I love it.
Oh, I was so pissed. But what did I learn? Don't rent to friends. Always put in there, one, no matter who you rent to, it's immediately, you're filing the eviction process. This isn't a, hey, we're going to work this out type of thing. And also, you're going to go in and you're going to automatically put something in the lease to where you're checking that property every 6 months. You have free reign I make an appointment, I show up, and I inspect the property. So that way I know if it's getting bad.
And is there a clause in your lease that says
now
if you
there
are
is.
if you're not keeping it clean?
Yeah, that gives me right to evict you.
But again, this is so hard when you're dealing with a friend.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing, is that, that it was that whole, I was a softie, she knew I was a softie, and
she took advantage. And
total
sometimes,
took advantage.
You stop, it stops being a favor or starts being a favor to a friend, and friends will take advantage of that. So
yes.
You need to be very, very careful to set boundaries. All right, well, okay.
But that one hit hard, and I was like in tears mad. Ready to beat someone's ass.
So mine is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anybody to physically hurt. I think I would have if I knew who these people were. I had a house that was a note. They stopped paying because one of them got cancer. Totally, we worked it out. They just deeded it back to me. They cleaned the whole place. Wow. Like, it was spotless, and it looked rent ready. Or sellable ready. Mm-hmm. And then lo and behold, I pull title and they've got an IRS tax lien on it.
Oh.
And so I've already taken it back, but I haven't recorded the deed. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to rent it. I'll rent it for a year while I'm alerting the IRS and officially foreclose to take my property back. So I get a really great Section 8 tenant. She comes over, sees the place. I've got these gorgeous, the Black Galaxy granite countertops in it. I mean, and it's the gorgeous porcelain, kind of off-white. Can you show me
again what that looks like with those gloves?
With this. And it, like my countertops, would match my ensemble today.
Yes.
I mean, really, everything was brand new and was gorgeous and perfect. And I go, sure, okay. So, and she goes, well, I'm going to have the inspection will be done this week, and then I'll have my deposit in about 10 days. Does that work for you? And I said, sure. As soon as you have your deposit, we'll sign the lease and you can move in. No problem. They do the Section 8 inspection Thursday. We show up on Monday to sign the lease. So we're talking 5 days. We haven't been in there. And I was like, okay, well, usually I just sign us on, but let's just walk into the house and make sure everything's okay. We walk into the front of the house, and instantly you can see all the way out the back of the house and into the back alley. They have completely ripped the back of the house off. They have...
What in the... ripped the back of the house.
Ripped the back of my house off. Then they've stolen the back fence. There's a basketball hoop laying on the side in what used to be the master. They've ripped out wire everywhere, graffiti tagged the entire side. And then, and she and I are walking in there, and I'm like this. I'm like a robot, kind of like R2-D2. There's no emotion on my face.
You're just in shock.
I'm also, when I'm talking to these tenants, I try to pretend like I'm not the owner. I'm the property manager.
Yeah, I do that
so
too.
that there's no emotion and stuff with this. And she's looking at me, like, waiting for me to just, like, lose my shit, which I'm about ready to do. All of a sudden, I'm like, what is that smell? There were 5 still smoldering dog carcasses.
No.
Yes. Whoever those assholes, I'm allowed to say assholes, right? Assholes were.
Yeah.
They
On the Halloween special, horror Halloween special, for sure.
So, anyways, they're like 5, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then you look, and you're like, oh my God, somebody set dogs on fire in here. I'm assuming they killed them first. I'm hoping they didn't burn them alive. They're like, but piles of dead dog that had been set on fire.
That is awful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the beyond your house, but
Beyond a house, but to add
what the hell, people?
the rotting, festering, but dogs on fire smell.
Yeah.
So, and all this woman says, and I will still never forget it, because it was one of the, thinking back, it's one of the freaking funniest things I've ever heard. She just goes, oh, someone fucked your house up real good.
And she was correct.
And she was correct, and I just stood there, like, looking around going,
oh my gosh.
I'm like, that's the first insurance claim I ever took. I'd never taken I'd been an investor for like 10 years and had never taken a claim before.
That's crazy town.
Yeah.
That is crazy town.
Horror stories.
Whew! I need a drink after that one.
I know, right?
Holy moly.
All right, you're up.
Yes, I'm up. Hey, and by the way,
you
I gotta
follow
follow
my
that.
dead dog.
I don't think I can follow. I think that should have been like the finale.
Oh, that's not even my best one.
Holy moly.
That's my less than best one.
Wow.
I know. You're going, okay.
Somebody egged my rental property once.
Damn it.
Yeah, no. I could handle that. No, the smoldering doghouse.
And half of it gone.
And half of it gone. Yeah, they added to it.
What in the world? Like, how do you even take half of the house off?
Funny, and hats off, right, to Dallas PD, because
They found the other half?
No, but they were at least super cool, and they met. He gave me his card, and he goes, "Let me meet you over here when your insurance guy comes, and I'll give you like some help here." And I'm like, dude, that is so awesome. I got my insurance adjuster out there, and the cop came back and like talked to him, and the insurance adjuster's like, this is just, this is theft. This isn't vandalism. And the cop was like, "Excuse me, sir?" He's like, he goes, "They've added a basketball hoop. There's patio furniture in where this was, a bedroom.
Yeah.
And they've graffitied. I think this is pretty much vandalism."
They stole the dogs' lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They've added dead dog to the property.
Wow.
That's definitely not a value add.
That is not a value add.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I didn't understand. I'm like, how could this house smell so bad within a couple days?
Ugh. That is
But
horrible.
it was breezy. It was very airy and breezy.
It now had an open concept.
With the back of the house completely gone. I'm like, gosh, it seems so much bigger than I remember.
Yeah. Check out the garden room.
All right,
I don't want
you're
to
it.
follow that. Like, I don't want to follow that. All right, much less dramatic. Mine are mostly Tenant.
Oh, mine were. Well,
Yeah.
that was
something.
That was
something. I don't.
neighborhood.
Did they ever catch him?
No.
Did you ever find the back half of the house?
I know, right?
No.
Jeez. The other thing would be, okay, so, whenever we were doing the Section 8, we've done a Section 8 episode.
Right.
And so one of my tenants before has been Section 8. And it was Section 8, but it was a different type of Section 8. It was one of those where she was pregnant and giving up the baby for adoption.
Oh, right.
And so therefore the adoption company was paying for her rent. And she only had to pay for utilities. So it was kind of like that. It's somebody else is paying for her rent. She's kind of living there for free as long as she delivers the baby and blah, blah, blah. And they're just trying to make sure she's okay. She had been on probation several times, blah, 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 but we were insured that this is what would happen. No matter what, we would get rent collected. And so for the most part, that's what happened. Well, learned another lesson. I don't know what lesson you learned on yours. What did you learn? Like, what's there to learn? You can't deter anybody from that.
No.
I'm giving lessons. Mine will not be as exciting as hers, but I'm giving lessons here.
You are. You're giving great lessons. I don't know how you avoid what happened to me. I'm just sitting there looking dumb.
In your hat.
My crown here. I'm just like, I'm a dummy.
No. So this woman is renting the place, and all of a sudden she kind of disappears. And we've got she's delivered the baby, but they were giving her a like 3 months after that, like she can get on her feet, whatever,
Nice.
And so she's delivered the baby, so she's no longer putting the baby at risk by doing whatever it is that she does. And so I think, kind of like if you're on probation, the moment that that's lifted, sometimes people just go hog wild. I think that's what happened. And so she was out doing whatever it is she wanted to be doing and couldn't quite afford whatever it was that she wanted to be doing. So she started selling off appliances.
Oh, no.
Not her appliances, my appliances.
Yeah, no, I figured that.
Yeah. She's renting from me. She's selling off my appliances. And one of them that was in the house at the time was only because we didn't have any other place to put it, was an old stove, like the 1950s. Like it's got the drop down shelf, the skillet in the middle.
Please do not tell me that it's a family heirloom or anything like that.
Well, I mean, it was in the family, but I'm like, the thing weighs a freaking ton. Okay, a ton.
She sold that on like Facebook Marketplace.
That was pre-Facebook. That was way pre-Facebook. If Facebook Marketplace was a thing, that would have been her first choice.
Craigslist.
I think it was pre-Craigslist. I think she would have had to do a green sheet or something. But whatever. So she sold this stove. Oh my God. This 1950s freaking awesome ass stove.
Did she snort your stove?
She snorted my stove. So livid, again, just freaking livid, calling myself stupid and livid. And then I realized, okay, woman is on probation. Let's start with her probation officer.
Okay, so she's on probation.
Yeah.
The woman has been in jail.
She's been in jail. So immediately contact them, and they contact her and say, you tell your landlord who you sold this to, or else. So immediately she tells me it's a friend of hers. It's a friend of hers, and I tracked down this friend. This friend is renovating like a 1950s home, and she's like, it goes perfect in my home. I'm not returning it. I paid for it. And I'm not selling it either.
And
excuse me? So a little more digging, and this is when, having friends in all sorts of places really comes in handy. Is I find out, she's on probation.
Nice.
So once I talk to her and talk to the probation officer, I'm able to prove that, yes, that is my stove that she purchased, and I don't care what she paid for it. He talks to her and says, you give it up or else. So we got our stove back. She got out of the freaking house, and I didn't put that stove back in a rental. So if you like the appliances or you like anything and there's any type of sentimental value whatsoever, it doesn't matter if it weighs a ton, get it out of that rental property.
So where's that stove now?
In my garage.
So really,
keep
it's like you're
thinking-
like, I'm gonna do something with that.
Yeah, well, I keep thinking
With
like
this-
if I get because I'd like to have a house in the mountains or on the lake or something like that.
Right.
And
what not, move
And it would be-
a 2,000-pound non-working appliance.
no, it works.
your-
It works. It just has to have gas. It works, and it's super cute. I love it.
I love it. Well, then you've got to keep it.
So instead, it's just been housed in
All right.
the corner of my garage. So it is not dead dogs, but
It's not dead dogs. All right.
it was a victory, because I got
right.
it back.
So this is Ryan Harper's favorite horror story of mine.
Uh-oh. Then I know it's a good one.
I'm renting to own. Okay, let's just say this. This is in the early stages of me owner financing.
Got it.
And I'm afraid of the due on sale clause, which I'm not afraid of now. So I am going to rent to own this place, but basically I've put them into a mortgage because my attorney made me. Anyways, the guy who is going to be getting this pseudo mortgage from me drives up in his car and meets me in front of his house, and he gets out, shakes my hand. Hey, how's it going? Great. And okay, let's go see the house. So we go see the house. Everything looks great. And I said, all right, well, what do you do for employment? He goes, I'm on disability. Making polite conversation. Oh, what are you on disability for? I am legally blind, is what he tells me. Right there, red flag goes off. Now, what did I learn from this? Always do things the right way. If you have a con man who is obviously not legally blind, who drives himself to go. He's driving. He's not blind. He has no glasses on.
Yeah.
No, and by legally blind, I mean like cane, dark glasses. I need a seeing eye dog.
That's what he told you?
Yes, that's what he told the government.
Oh, that's what he told the government.
He told the
Okay.
government this. So he is blind. He's a blind man. And I'm sitting there going, well, okay, I guess it's fine. He gets a government check for disability, but he's defrauding the government, but he's not defrauding me. So obviously, it's a good situation, a win-win all around.
I'll get paid.
I'll get paid.
Yeah.
His fiance, because they're all fiancés. That's a joke for any landlord
Yeah.
out there. It's always my fiance. Anyway, so his fiance worked in the mortgage department at Bank of America. And so I'm like, cool. We don't understand this. Everything, we're going to get paid. Guess what? He ended up losing his disability about 9 months into it. Everything was great. And then he lost his disability. Why? Because he had too many speeding tickets.
Oh my! Okay,
So he's
that
like
is
the
a
dumbest-
dumb con man.
It's
That
like
is the dumbest con ever. Like, come on, come on.
I still laugh. I'm like, he got too many speeding tickets, and that's why he lost his disability. I'm like, really? How dumb can you be to lose your government check for that?
Yeah.
Okay, drive, but, stay below the speed limit. What's wrong with you? Anyways, so fast forward.
Get a radar detector.
Obviously, he stops paying. And I'm communicating with the fiance. Why? Because the dude is blind. And so we're communicating by email, all of this, right? We have months of email. I put them on a payment plan. Finally, I'm just like, y'all, this is not working. And because never filed a warranty deed or anything like that, just basically evicting, right? So
Yeah.
we show up at eviction court. And here I am, the big bad landlord. And by the way, I've got like long blonde hair and I'm young, whatever, small business younger,
Yeah.
small business owner, long blonde hair. And I'm the big bad mean landlord who's evicting the blind man. He shows up at freaking eviction court, dark glasses, long cane,
Oh
and
my goodness.
and the fiance on the arm to
Guiding him.
lead the blind man up to the judge's thing. And I'm standing there listening to him with the
Seething,
judge, and I'm
just-
just like my blood is
Yeah.
boiling. And what do I know? Never argue. Just answer the questions that the judge asks. Do not offer anything. Don't show that I'm mad. So I just stood there with a dumb smile on my face, smiling the entire time. Took about 2 minutes. And he goes, well, I have an objection about this because my fiance's name is on the eviction papers, because he didn't want me messing up her credit. And I didn't even bother to put him because he doesn't have any money or a job or even any disability now. He's just kind of a fake blind loser.
Yeah.
So.
Fake blind loser.
Can't even do fake blind well.
Yeah.
And so I go, well, I've really just been communicating with her via email. And because I'm the savvy, smart investor that I knew, I had printed out all of the emails that I had with this woman. And so and she goes, oh, do you have any copies of those emails? Of course I do. And I hand her over to these, and she looks at the papers and starts reading these emails. And I kid you not, I cannot believe this idiot did this. He goes, Judge, could I see those, please? Reaches out, lifts up his dark glasses, and starts reading these emails. And I
can't believe that kind of stupid. Like, that's a whole nother level of stupid.
And if everybody has ever been in South Dallas District Courts, Judge Brown's courtroom, that woman was, she was a riot to watch. The anger that just boiled up inside of her because she realized that this blind man, this man
was not blind,
who is being led by his fiance, is sitting there reading in front of her, and she's just like, boom, gavel went down.
Yeah.
Case of I was like,
guilty.
I know.
Evicted.
Eviction
granted.
Yeah. So part B of that story is my next. I'll save that for after.
You'll say that.
Part 2 of Blind Man. I've got part 2 of Blind Man.
How on earth, part 2? Oh,
how on earth could my Blind Man horror story?
How did he make it to part 2? He's too dumb.
Well, and the funny thing is, my sister is hysterical because she still brings up part 2 horror story of the Blind Man. She thinks she rolls on the floor and like starts crying. She's laughing so hard. I'm like, yeah, well.
Glad you can laugh.
Yeah, right. Because it didn't happen to you. Well, obviously, Kristin can laugh now too.
Right.
Oh, that judge's response. God, it was gold. And just to see the fake blind man out himself like that, I'm like, I thought I'd have to say like, he's got tons of speeding tickets, and be like, immature and catty, but no.
Well, okay, so speaking of another rental story that I have to deal with is, okay, so this isn't exactly about the property as much as what happened while my tenants were there.
Oh, God.
So I had some really, really, really great tenants, and they were awesome. Married couple, newlyweds, super cute, liked them a lot. They're just trying to build some credit, work, save up some money,
I'm
move
waiting
in.
for the but. What's the but?
Well, so they were newlyweds, right? So they're newlyweds. They're living in this house. And all of a sudden, I start getting these weird calls from them going, did this house used to be a brothel? And I'm like, what? No.
Wait, from both of them or just like one of them?
Just him. Because he and I are mainly the ones that communicated, right? I didn't communicate with the wife a whole lot.
House used to be a brothel.
And I'm like, no, not that I'm aware of, and I've had it a while. So, I had tenants before you and tenants before, Yeah. And so the first time he did it, he said, well, so it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, and this woman shows up at my front door. My wife is home. We're here together, and I open the front door, and it's this woman dressed really scantily, barely any clothes on, and asked me if I was Mr. Smith and did I need my clothes done. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, this woman's on the front porch just asking me if I need favors done or I need some housework done, that I had made a phone call. I didn't make any phone calls. I didn't place this call. And she was dropped off by a taxi. So she didn't have a way to leave right away. And so I told her, look, that wasn't me. I don't know what the problem, I'm so sorry.
I'm ordering you prostitutes. That's just the
That-
perk that
that's
you get
just
for
the-
renting
yeah.
from me.
I don't know if I told you this or not, but that's in the lease.
Free prostitute, one per month. You are welcome.
Yes. Send me my thank you letter later.
You may show your appreciation any way you choose.
Preferably by checks
By
in the
check,
mail.
right.
But no, so this happened the first time, and then a few weeks later, he's calling me again, and he was like, Jer'Leigh, it happened again. This woman showed up, and I said, is it the same woman? And he's like, no, it's a completely different woman, and she's offering services. My wife is getting really pissed. She's starting to think that I do stuff here at the house when she's not here, and
he does.
And he's like, I am freaking out. I don't know what's going on. And and they get really mad. So I was like, I have no idea what to tell you. I've had no experience with this whatsoever. This has never happened. It's out of my control. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can't, it's not the same person. So you can't even file a report and say
it's a different hooker.
It's a different hooker. Each time is a different hooker. And so this happened several times. And so finally, one of the calls that he made to me, he's like, Jer'Leigh, we're going to have to move. Like, this is going to cause a divorce. It's happening on a regular. I'm going to have to, will you let me out of my lease? Because this is ridiculous. And so the last time that it happened, somebody showed up, and he's talking to this woman, and she starts getting super irate. She's throwing a fit in the front yard. Well, then somebody across the street, because he started asking the neighbors, right? Hey, did you have a friend coming by? Did you? Because he's starting to worry about his.
Did you order a prostitute maybe, and they came to
call
my
girl?
house from the state?
Did you have a call girl? Because they got the wrong address.
Did you order a prostitute tonight to show up? No. No, are you sure?
Okay.
Are you sure that you did not order a prostitute? Nobody fessed up to that one. Really.
Nobody fessed up, but the house across the street diagonally, nobody fessed up, but he talked to two older people, right? The couple. Oh. And they were like, no, it's just us here. And I mean, our son's here, but he hardly ever leaves. And he never gets any visitors. Well, this woman's throwing a wall-eyed fit, like a tantrum, a grown-up tantrum in the front yard. And he happens to notice the blinds go up in the house across the street. So the blinds are up. And he finally gets this woman to leave. And he calls me and he's like, Jer'Leigh, I think I've figured it out. I think I've figured out what's going on. I think it's the person across the street. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I think so. I think it's the son that doesn't have any friends ever come over. I was like, okay. So I go over because I happen to know some of the neighbors. Right. And so I go over and I'm like, hey, can I talk to your son for a second? Blah, blah, blah. I end up talking to that son. And apparently he got his kicks by making calls for prostitutes and just watching them get out of the car. Just watching them get out of the car and walk up to the front door. And that's what made him happy.
Did he pay before they showed up? Because I'm like...
I have no idea.
At a certain point, you'd think that the service would stop sending women over.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a service. Like, this is pre any... I think it was like Dallas Observer back page or something. Page. This is...
How old is this kid?
We're 20s. In his 20s. We're not talking 18-year-old. Okay. We're talking about loser living in his parents' house, getting...
But I'm just saying, like, I would never even know where to go for something like that.
What? You're kind of a worldly guy. Give me a freaking break.
Worldly, I know where to go. In Dubai, it's called the rattlesnake it's just called the rattlesnake.
It's just,
by the way, that works in Dallas too.
What's that?
The rattlesnake.
There's a rattlesnake in Dallas?
Yeah, Ritz-Carlton. Oh. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it was just this guy across the street that kept ordering prostitutes,
and I just almost to watch him walk out of the car,
just to watch him and imagine that he was. I mean, he's living with his parents. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
That was a little cuckoo, but I almost lost a tenant because they were going to end up in a divorce.
Forget about the tenant. I'm sorry. That's a call to the FBI going, if you're not watching this dude, you need to be.
Yeah, something.
Because
he is going to progress and do something worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Next Halloween, he's wearing human skin.
and going, it puts the lotion in the bucket. Yeah, in the basket. Yeah.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Yeah.
It does it whenever it's told.
Yeah. Creepy.
Did you ever follow up with that guy? Because he might be in jail.
I don't even want. And follow up with that guy. Hey, the next thing I know, he's going to be calling me. Hey, can you come over?
I live across the street. Just want to wear something short.
I think they have a plumbing leak at your rental place. I can see water.
Okay, that's awesome. God. Now I feel
Part
like
two.
I know I've had part 2, but that's funny.
That was it was funny. I mean, that one wasn't like horror, but
Kind of horror. I mean,
yeah, but your next story, part 2, ties into her earlier story about how she fell in love with that stove, and the lesson she learned was never put something you love in a house.
which this is my sister's favorite part, is what Ryan just brings up. So I rehabbed this house.
Back to Blind Guy.
Blind Guy.
All right, so
part
this is
2.
Blind Guy part 2. And you're thinking, we went through this whole pantomime in front of the judge with the glasses and the cane, and I'm totally blind. Blah, blah, blah.
You're not blind.
You're not blind.
Evicted.
And I'm the big
Jesus
bad.
saves.
I'm the big bad landlord, queen of evil, right here.
Yeah.
And
You look like Queen of Evil.
I know,
right?
right? I'm totally playing the part today. So he says, well, I'm not leaving. Basically, he tells me that up front. And I'm like, okay, so I got to file a writ. My dumbass does not immediately go over to the house to figure out what's going on.
Oh.
I wait. I get the writ of possession. Now I've had it, whatever. And you go and put it on the front door. When I renovated this place, I was kind of a whale at this kind of spin-off of Home Depot, HD Supply, I forget what it was called. Anyways, and they would do these raffle appreciations. I was winning all sorts of prizes, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I loved this front door. I got to pick out any front door from the store that I wanted, and I put it on this house. Mm-hmm. The only thing I loved about this house was that
front
door. That was it. I drive over the house after a week has gone by, right? And I've got my writ of possession after evicting them. And the first thing I noticed, there is no front door.
So it now has you have a theme going here, open concept.
Exactly. I'm like, and you're pulling up, it's not in the best neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh no.
I love how you look at me.
No.
It's not in the best neighborhood. Really?
You got the big blind man, and yeah. Okay.
No, she said it like that because you pointed out that you didn't grow up in the nest.
Oh, okay. So she was trying to relate.
No.
Yeah.
People fight in this neighborhood.
Okay.
Even
So
the
I would have fit
grown-ups.
in just fine.
Yeah.
So I walk into this house, and it is torn to shit. I mean...
Oh, yeah, the front door's gone.
So
if it wasn't him, it was somebody else.
They have ripped out the carpeting
That sucks.
and thrown it into the yard. They took sledgehammers to the granite countertops. Sledgehammers. And ripped the cabinets
Off the wall.
off the wall. Then ripping the plumbing off the wall too. So there's water
Everywhere.
everywhere. That's not even the worst part. I talked to the neighbors because I'm like, what the hell is this smell? So all the carpet is out in the yard, with the exception of the back big 4th bedroom, where that's where the dogs all went potty. They borrowed 6 enormous dogs.
I'm reliving my past now.
6 enormous dogs. They split open large bags of Ol' Roy, the Walmart generic dog food. Those huge bags, split them open, filled the bathtubs up with water, then locked the dogs in there for the 2 weeks before the eviction hearing. So they had no intention of ever going back into that house 2 weeks prior to eviction. Which is basically...
That is infuriating.
That's basically just a couple days after
Yeah.
I posted them for eviction. It's probably around the time they would have been notified.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, it was a biohazard.
Yeah.
Like a biohazard.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So there you go.
And now you know where the dogs from the first story came from.
And by the way, they stole my great
Oh.
door. They stole my door.
And you didn't get it back.
No. Apparently, the cops didn't find that was a reason to go after them.
What?
Oh yeah. Do you want to know why? Because at the time they were in possession of the house, so it wasn't really stealing the door,
What? That doesn't even make sense.
right? I thought that was kind of lip service too.
That doesn't even make sense. Not their property.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But unless it's a certain dollar amount, it's
yeah,
beneath
but
them.
those doors are freaking it. I mean, if it's a kind of door that I think
Oh,
that I
it
think
was
we're talking about
stunning. It was a
hundreds,
stunning,
if not
door.
thousands of dollars
Yeah,
worth of
it
door.
was like a $1,500.
Worth of door.
It was like a $1,500 front door.
Yeah.
I think I probably complained about that door a little too much in the beginning. I mentioned nothing
Yeah.
about the dog.
I know. I'm like, there is so much more to that story. There's the
But I'm like-
dogs. There's the plumbing. There's the sledgehammer.
So that was my first lesson in carpet. Because that back room where the dogs went potty was carpeted. I had that carpet professionally cleaned. In fact, I had all of the carpet taken from the yard and brought back into the house. Now, I did have to, for that biohazard carpet, I did have to remove all the padding. And then we completely bleached the slab
Gotcha.
everywhere.
And now those houses are her Airbnbs.
You may stay
Welcome.
there.
This is the poop room. Welcome to the
This
poop-
is
it's
biohazard.
themed. This Airbnb is themed.
It really like booked solid around Halloween.
That piece of crap house, okay, that one house was the bane of my existence for nearly a decade. Nearly a decade I was involved with it. I rehabbed that thing top to bottom 4 times. And when I say top to bottom, I'm not talking about just paint and carpet. And we're talking electrical, plumbing, HVAC. It had been ripped out 4 times.
Holy moly.
3 times.
Now,
Three times after the first time I put it back together.
So was that tenants or was that just because of the neighborhood?
That was neighbors.
Ah,
We're very, we like
so
to
that
share.
right there,
We like to
there's
share
the
everything.
lesson. There's the lesson, though. So right there, learning from Kristin and her biohazard house. What you want to do is make sure, even though it's so tempting sometimes to buy in some of these neighborhoods that are pretty sketch, you're taking a large risk. If you're planning on hanging on to it, you're taking a large risk.
And when to be fair, when I bought this house, it was hot pink with turquoise trim.
I love hot pink.
Right? I mean, but I'm not. We're talking
Actually, I love
hot
turquoise. I do.
pink.
Yeah.
We are like fuchsia hot pink.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even believe they could find this color with aqua trim, turquoise aqua trim. In retrospect, thinking back to that house, I did not pay very much for it. Around $32,000.
Yeah. Well, of course you didn't. That's the lure of those sketch neighborhoods.
So in overall, amazingly, on my QuickBooks balance sheet, it shows that I made a great profit on it because I finally ended up owner financing it.
Yeah.
And once I did that, legitimately owner financed it to somebody who had 10% down. It was a great deal.
And I mean, I'm not trying to like deter
No.
anybody. Yeah.
But before, I mean,
Money can be made there. It's just know what you're getting into.
I ended up owning 4 in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know. That was the first one I bought. And when I first bought it, I didn't know how bad it was. It turns out that is the most notorious street in Pleasant Grove, which is located in East Dallas. I'm sure somebody watching this can go, oh, I know what street that is. I'm like, seriously, $20 at Home Depot. If anybody can write down the name of that street, I'm not going to give it away on the show, but if I see it in the comments, first one to write it down, I'll be like, yep, winner, chicken dinner, $20 for you at Home Depot.
Way to know your ghettos.
I know, your ghettos, your barrios, whatever they are. Whatever language is spoken there.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up. 3 apiece, right?
Yeah.
Was it 3 apiece? All right. Our little Halloween horror, we decided to make it fun and dress up. Oh. What? Because I said horror.
No, you said no. It sounded like you said
Halloween.
Our little Halloween horror.
I decided.
Oh, and then you like this, and then you did this.
Yeah. So, and you didn't say horror story. You said our little
Halloween horror, and then it was like, no. Look at Kristin with her.
Okay, that is not what I meant. Am I red? Oh my gosh. No. Is it hot in here?
And the next thing you know, she gets a phone call from that little Billy.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, can you get out there?
123 Main Street.
It's very important that you walk slowly.
Yeah. I want to see you get out of the car slowly.
Yeah, that's what I desire. I'll pay you extra. I'll tip you when you get here.
All right. Well, if y'all have any horror stories,
please drop them in the comments. I would
We'd
love to hear some more great stories.
I mean, they are. Hopefully, if you have had to experience any of these, you learn from them. I mean, we all do. And then they make, good drinking stories, and it looks like we're out. Y'all have a happy Halloween. I am Jer'Leigh Thompson with Texel Real Estate.
And I'm Kristin Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage.
Like, subscribe our YouTube channel, Real Estate Divas, and join us next time. Bye.